Once again, October is here. It's that time of year.
Yeehaw.
Yep, exactly.
Cowboy time.
Yeah.
Happy October 2nd, everybody.
Happy October 2nd.
Because that's today. That's when we're doing this.
Absolutely. Favorite time of the year. I know it's pretty basic these days, you know. But to quote, I think it was my friend Kyle, and Emily was doing like a self-deprecating thing where she ordered like a pumpkin-sized latte, and she's like, I don't know, I'm pretty basic or whatever. And like Kyle was like, society has bred it into us that is basic. It's just fucking delicious, you know? Yeah. So
I
really,
don't think I've ever partaken. No.
try one out. I mean, one of my favorite things. I got to shout out Joe Bob Briggs. I don't know if I sent it to you or whatever, but it's just this picture of him, disheveled, looking like he just woke up in a hotel. He posted it pretty early in the morning. It was literally August 28th. But here, I'll show you the picture right here. So go ahead and read the caption, and also acknowledge that it's actually August 26th that he posted this.
That's so far away.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
Just so you know, my glasses do not work. These are just for show.
Okay.
First pumpkin spice latte of the year. It's officially Halloween.
Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit, it's July 26th or August 26th.
That almost doesn't even look like him.
Yeah.
He's blonde for some reason.
I just think he hasn't dyed his hair, you know. I think he's a hair dye guy, but I think he stopped doing it recently. I think he's letting it be natural lately.
That shit's so sick.
What?
I'm mainly thinking of Johnny Knoxville, but to be dyeing your hair for years and years and then just show up one day with white hair, so sick.
Yeah. But anyways, October, spooky time, love it, ghosts, all that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna cold open by that kind of stuff. You know, as soon as I see the fucking Count Chocula's roll out and stuff like that, it's just, I want to live here all year. I know it's cringe or whatever, but, you know, Nightmare on fucking Christmas Eve, whatever the fuck that movie's called, you know?
Yep.
Take me to Halloween Town, baby. I want to hang out with the Spook Sisters, who are those three witches from the Disney Channel movie.
The Hocus Pocuses?
Hocus Pocuses, you know, or that, you know, I'm just into it, you know? I like the pumpkins. I like the black cats. I like the witches.
Welcome to Halloween Town. What is
I like potions, spiders, cobwebs, spooky stories, skeletons. The weather being bearable is also pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's kind of overcast and not bright. I can't really do brightness much, so you know that overcast weather really hits me. You know, there's everything's got some color to it. Pop. I mean, I'm not saying that green isn't a color. I'm just saying, you know, everything's a little samey when it's all green. You know, it's beautiful in its own way, but I like the oranges and stuff. Then when everything comes bare, you know, the whole world gets kind of spooky because it just kind of reminds you of death to begin with. So it's kind of spooky. You know, it's time for Over the Garden Wall. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's time for Treehouse of Horror.
Treehouse of Horror.
Gotta watch all those for whatever reason. I feel all year long I think about those and I want to watch them, but I can't. I gotta save them.
That's how I feel about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Also, I feel like
not true. I meant to say Friday the 13th. I've actually. So we're gonna talk about the Friday the 13th movies. Get there in a second. I don't have a relationship to any of them past like the second one. But yeah, that was never my thing. But yeah, that's what we chose this year. I mean, we've been saying it for a whole year. If you've been listening, this is Nightmare on Elm Street time. So I guess put the little theme song right here, yeah? Does that sound good to you, Nick?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's both buttons pressed. The codes were put in, the keys were turned at the same time, so right now the music should start playing. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. But yeah, we chose Nightmare on Elm Street. This is a movie that just jumped right into my history. I saw it on AMC in the middle of the night because my childhood was a horror hound. You know this as a listener, but also Nick, you as my friend know this.
I do.
To this day, I'm a horror hound. Some of the earliest, like, I'm trying to think of like where my how far back I can trace my horror hound stuff. You know, because like as a kid, I can remember being into like, you know, stuff like Scooby-Doo. I remember like intentionally staying over distant cousins' house because my mom would we'd go out to dinner and then we'd go back to their house forever. Like, whoa, you have every Nightmare on Elm Street? Or sorry, I keep saying Nightmare on Elm Street. Every Friday the 13th on VHS. And I'd be like, Mom, you gotta let me spend the night. And then I'd like stay up all night, piss in their bed, and watching like 3 or 4 of them back to back or whatever. But like AMC Horror Fest, they used to do that I think they still do it, but like even when I was a kid, like that was like the thing on TV that like, when I listen to like Angry Video Game Nerd, James Ralph, whatever, talk about like TNT Monster Vision in the 90s, like that's the closest thing I have is like, when AMC becomes, horror movie show or station, I mean. But also, Comcast On Demand was a huge thing. Like, they had free movies, so I would just, like, go to that horror section. I just, So, one night, late at night, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street on AMC on cable. Just fucking horrified. Couldn't sleep alone that night. Just fucking so scared. Yeah. And it's so interesting because, like, for me at least, even when I was a kid... Like, I never really had that thing that, like, Will always talks about where he's like, I just couldn't watch Batman Beyond because, like, that picture was just so scary. I was never, like, scared of that. It was always the fucking idea. Like, just the idea was so scary. Like, because we just watched Nightmare on Elm Street. There's nothing in it that's, like, really, really that horrifying. Like, even if a child watched it, it's kind of goofy. But just the idea that, like, he could get me in my sleeps and stab me up was, like, so scary to me.
It's the best. I think it's the most... I don't want to say ingenious, but the most ingenious part about Freddy Krueger is, if you're a kid and you see a Friday the 13th or a Halloween and you have a dream about Michael Myers or the other one, Jason, and you wake up in a cold sweat and you're like, oh, thank God, I'm just in my bed. If you're a kid and you have a dream about Freddy Krueger and you wake up and you go, fuck, that could have been him.
Yeah, I narrowly escaped. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of the show, my dad, about it, and he was like, I was never afraid of fucking like Friday the 13th because like I don't go to the fucking woods.
Exactly.
So, But yeah, I mean, do you have any kind of interest with, fucking history with Nightmare on Elm Street, anything like that?
No,
Krueger?
You know me, listeners, and you as my friend, never was a horror hound. Yeah. Just scary stuff, even the mention of something scary.
Am now a horror hound?
Fucked me up forever. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But as a kid, it would just fuck me up. Like, I'd be just like, like Nancy, I would, for sure, if I thought about it, I'd have coffee underneath my bed. But just like as a kid, I'd be like, awake all night sometimes because I was so scared, and then go to school the next day just tired as hell.
Oh no, I get it, dude. I used to be fucking paralyzed at night. Oh yeah. And like the worst part is like when you get a piss, and it's like going to the bathroom. I don't know about you, but like me, I'd just be like, oh my God, I'd have to really psych myself up to like walk out into the darkness, find the toilet, and do the piss. Personally, I was horrified to just walk through the house like that. I was like, oh my God.
Growing up, my bedroom was next to the bathroom. Yeah. Like kitty corner to it. Yeah. So like I walked into my bedroom door, then immediately to the left was the bathroom, but I always be like, but I have to get across my room in the dark still. And so I'd have to hype myself up for it. Yeah. But I would kind of like crouch up on my bed, kind of like with my hand open my door because I was that close.
Oh, yeah. Because you didn't want anything from underneath the bed to grab you kind of a thing.
And I would jump from my bed kind of around the corner into the bathroom.
We'll get there, but that's one thing that I do want to talk about, the Johnny Depp kill, where he gets sucked into the bed. It's such a good kill because of exactly that. You're always afraid of the edges of the bed. Yeah. So it's like a Wes Craven. Like I don't know that he wrote that even, but I'm just saying like it's typical Wes Craven to me because it's like, the exact opposite. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So otherwise, this was your first year. This movie you saw it this year, first time, right?
Yeah, we did
and now you've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, we did a Friday the 13th when we watched Freddy versus Jason. Yeah. And I thought the best part of that movie was the flashbacks to this movie in it. Sure. So shortly after that, I watched it. And I don't know, I think I was with somebody. And so I didn't really...
Was it with Elton?
Might have been. I didn't really catch a lot of it.
Yeah, I think you and Elton watched it, but anyways, go
ahead. And then so like 6 months later, I watched it again. Yeah. Didn't really catch much of it. Yeah. And then the other day when we watched it, I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to be the 3rd time this year I've watched this movie. And Chris didn't really catch much of it. No, I'm kidding. This is the most I got out of it, out of any of the times we watched it. But okay. I not to jump the gun, but I don't know about this movie. Yeah. It definitely has some really good stuff, but I felt like while we were watching it, I'm like, I feel like we've been watching this movie for 3 hours.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think there's some really, really good stuff in here, but spoilers. Obviously, it's not October 2nd. I know we lied to you in the beginning, but we lied to you. We've watched 3 of these now, and yeah, that's the thing is that like I really like some things. Like obviously, huge respects to Wes Craven with the whole. Yeah, like you said, it's ingenious. The idea of like someone who gets when you're asleep, like he comes to you.
Absolutely.
And not like the way that like Michael Myers does, where it's like, oh, there could be a killer in your room. It's like, no, you fall asleep and you could die. Really spooky stuff, but yeah, it's like for some reason it's like it's missing like a fun factor somewhere in there.
Yeah, like even when we got to the second one starts and I'm like, oh boy,
I like the second one a bit more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was like, that started, I was like, this is gonna be like the Friday the 13th or whatever. I'm like, this is gonna be the one for me. I could feel it immediately. And by the time it was like ending, I was like, I've fallen off of this movie 25 minutes ago. Like for some reason, all 3 of these, not to again jump the gun on all the other ones, but it applies to the first one as well. There's stuff in this movie that is better than any of the other slashers that we've watched.
Okay.
But as a whole, just I'm kind of bored by a good majority of it.
I'll do obviously like a kind of scene by scene so we'll have the chance to talk about some stuff. But do you want to talk about some of the things that you feel like are like best of the genre almost, if you had any of those on hand?
I'd say the first one, the obviously her falling asleep in class and her friend showing up in the body bag.
Yeah.
One of the best things I've ever seen in any movie.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Depp in the bed, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Just exploding with blood. Just don't know what it is. It's like that in the elevator from The Shining.
Yeah.
Just
too much blood.
Too much, like a comical amount of blood is just so scary.
Yeah.
In the right context, and I don't know why.
And you're right. Before we get too much into the railroading of the movie, I will say that, there are some things that I genuinely love about this thing. And you're right, the classroom scene is one of them. Before I even get going, I will say this thing gives me some solid, like, Twin Peaksy vibes. Just with, like, how much, like, child drama it is that's going on. And, like, like, there's, like, the jock boyfriend who, like, they think maybe murdered his girlfriend. Kind of like James or whatever, like, how he's, like, a suspect, before they find out who the killer is. And whatever. But you start out and you have not Nancy, the other girl. It's like a bait and switch.
Yeah, you think she's going to be the main character, but she. Yeah. And I like that she doesn't even really die immediately. She dies like 30 minutes into the movie,
something like that.
Yeah.
But she's in a dream, and it's all boiler room stuff, which I'm
50-50. Boiler room stuff.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on the boiler room stuff. Because it almost is one of those things like it's almost like pre-Saw, like where it's like if this shit was green, it'd basically be Saw stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know that the boiler room does it for me, but
have you ever been in a boiler room in real life that wasn't scary?
I was literally gonna say I don't think I've ever been in a boiler room.
Well, I have been in, I'd say 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Very scary every single time.
Yeah. Okay. I do like the shot of that hallway with like the lamb coming down it though,
Oh yeah, it's
good. But then she's like running kind of silly in place, but again, like she's dreaming, so you get it. She can't run that fast and dream. Yada yada yada. Whatever. She wakes up. Next day at class, I do like all of the stuff where like everybody keeps mentioning offhanded, like the nightmares we're all having, but nobody's like cluing because like why would you, right?
Yeah,
because like the boyfriend mentions that he has like nightmares or whatever, and then he tells Nancy later he's like, I dreamt about this guy that's got like 4 razors on his fingers or whatever.
Yeah, and I like that him and Johnny Depp both, like someone says something like that and Johnny Depp like in the background kind of gives a look like, oh fuck, that's a dream I've been having. But I like that both of the tough macho guys aren't immediately like, oh fuck, I've also been having this dream. That like, I'm gonna play this cool for a while, I guess.
But the main thing that happens is again kind of like Twin Peaks with the opening with Laura Palmer being dead. I do like that whole thing where like her best friend still goes to school the next day and everything, whatever. But basically they all like spend the night at her house because she's afraid to stay there alone because she's been having these nightmares. Johnny Depp's there. He does that good bit with the stereo. I think that's a good bit. With the whole like, mom, the airplane or whatever. Yeah. It's all right. And macho boyfriend shows up. This is one of my favorite scenes in any horror movie because it's actually genuinely horrifying to me. It's really spooky. I love this concept. And I love that it's a cornerstone of this movie. Her getting like murdered in her dream, but it's happening in the real world at the same time, and her boyfriend's just watching it happen. Mm-hmm. So like when she gets like pulled onto the ceiling and like there's blood all over the ceiling and she's just screaming for like help, and he's like, Cindy or whatever her name is, I can't remember her name for some reason. And that whole kill that's great to me. I love that one. It's horrifying. Still super effective.
Yeah, and so much of this movie, like that, or even just simply the body bag in the hallway getting dragged away. I wrote both of those down in my notes. Just what I'm always talking about in older movies when there's a special effect. Yeah. 9 out of 10 times I go, fuck, I got no idea how they're doing this. Yeah. Like when she's on the ceiling and he's sitting on the ground looking at her, I'm like, no idea how they're doing this.
Yeah, great kill. And I like, obviously, like, she gets taken back to John Saxon, her dad's like little station or whatever, and they're asking her questions, and I do like the like I like this because it's like you can kind of see what we were talking about in the Donnie Darko episode, like the disconnect between generations, because of the way that even like language is used. Like another example I'll give is like how like Winston cigarettes in like the 60s, people were mad because they were like, cigarettes taste good like a cigarette should, which is not grammatically correct. It should be as a cigarette should. It's like it was seen as slang, and it was like, they're trying to promote this to children. So like that, there's that scene where Nancy is talking to her parents, and her parents are like, did they ever fight? And she was like, yeah, but it wasn't that serious. And they're like, well, maybe you don't think murder is serious, or whatever. She's like, no, you guys, I meant that the fighting wasn't that serious. Like just the little ways that you would speak.
This one and the next one, all the parents in these movies are just the fucking worst. Yeah. Like all of their kids are nothing but fine. Yeah. Like sometimes they sneak off with a boy, but they're always just like every opportunity they get, they're like, you know what?
They're David Lynch bad, where they're like, we're going out at night and smoking a cigarette.
And any chance they can get, they're like, you know what, child of mine, you're a real piece of shit. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh. But she goes to school the next day, and like you said, yes, that nightmare is great because I like, like they're reading the Shakespeare or whatever, and she like slowly drips off, and the guy who's like reading in the front or whatever just is like, and now I am falling asleep and having a nightmare, like reading like the poetry from like Macbeth or whatever, and it's spooky now. And she's in the hallway, and she's like, Nancy, help me, or whatever, and she follows her, and spooky stuff. Spooky stuff. From there,
do we see that guy yet?
Which guy?
Have we seen the main guy yet?
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's done the big long arms thing.
Yeah, he did the big long arms thing, which I love the big long arms. I have a love-hate relationship with how he like like comes at her in the wide shot. He does like this like crab walk. He does like a Zoidberg walk.
He's so... This one and the next one, they fix it by the third. Yeah. I don't even want to say fix it. They change it by the third. But in this one, he's a gross little goblin guy. Yeah. And in 2, he's just like a slimy, like red, brown-eyed, gross guy. Yeah. And then, and then he's just Freddy Krueger, the third one. But it's just so... I do like this one. There's like this recurring theme of like self-mutilation. That friend of show, my brother Donald, he was like, oh, why is Freddy even scary? Like, most of the time that he hurts somebody, it's himself. Because, like, he cuts off his fingers. And at one point, he's like, here's your god, or whatever. And he, like, rips his chest open. There's maggots underneath it. But that stuff's all spooky. Very spooky. Because, again, it's like one of those things where it's like that scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre where he cuts himself in the hand, the hitchhiker does, in front of everybody. It's like, if he's willing to do that to himself, what the fuck would he do to me? You know? But anyways, was it on the way to school that leather jacket boyfriend pulls in the bushes like, I didn't do it, there was someone else in the room? I think it was. Or it might have been on the way home, because that's when cop dad comes and gets him. Yeah. Because he used her as bait. Yeah, it was on the way to school. Yeah. Whatever. I like that. It's good. But so then she wakes up from the dream because she puts her fucking arm on the hot pipe, burns her in real life, wakes her up. And I like this because he's just like, oh, call your mom, help. She's like, no, it's all right, I'm fine, I'm just gonna go straight home or whatever. And like the mom, like the teacher, like physically, like she does a really good job of acting like, I don't know how to handle this, I'm just gonna go back to teaching. But she goes home, and then basically what happens next, I'm trying to remember. Oh, immediately after being home? Yeah, I got no idea. Maybe she goes and sees the leather jacket guy in jail? Let me see. You got a synopsis in front of you? At home, Nancy falls asleep in the bathtub. Oh, it's a bathtub immediately after. Okay, 1 second. Oh, no. I was wrong. What's next? I was right. She visits Leather Jacket Man at the police station. So she goes to visit Leather Jacket Man, and he probably, tells her about the nightmare? Yeah. Yeah. And then she goes home, and she has another nightmare. Go ahead. So uncomfortable. He's wearing a leather jacket with no shirt for the rest of this movie. Yeah, and jeans and, no socks and shoes. So for sure, no underwear. And just the inside of my body is just squeaming the whole time because I cannot imagine. Also, you know what's something I really like? What's that? I had someone else point this out to me. But Leather Jacket Boyfriend, who I'm sure has a name.
Rod, I think.
Rod.
Yeah, Rod.
And Johnny Depp. Their girlfriends are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one or two scenes that the two of them are in, it's so clear that these guys do not really like each other, or do not get along. And that's such like a high school thing. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but just like hanging out with a girl and her friend and whatever guy that friend liked, and just being like, I kind of despise this guy. And there's no other reason I would be in a room with him right now, and I want to go home.
Describes Tina death about and he mentions the whole thing where he's like, no, it's like someone else was in the room. He was like she's getting cut by a razor, but like 4 razors at once. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she falls asleep in the bathtub. How do you feel about the bathtub scene? I think the claw coming out is pretty iconic, but then after that,
I do like it.
I like it.
I like it pulling her under and her being like in an ocean underneath the bathtub. But I can't not think about. Let me see if I can find it. There's that behind the scenes picture of that scene happening, where it is just a crew guy who is just like a balding guy with long hair and a weird, awful mustache, just sitting in the bathtub with naked 19-year-old Nancy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I just hate thinking about that. That poor girl.
I will say also when I was a kid, I remember, and I still give him credit to this day, I like, at least in these early installments, I hear that it gets a little more, jump the sharky, but like the transition from real world to dream is always pretty seamless and not very like janky. And when I was a kid, it especially worked. And I'd always be like, oh shit, just like how seamlessly it slips into them dreams.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when we were watching, I think the second and the third one. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this isn't or no, not the second one. The second one, we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, especially the third one and what I've seen of the other ones. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is way too much. Oh, hey, we're in a dream now for sure.
Yeah.
In a very not great way. But yeah, no, I like how this one, there is a little bit of mystery every other time that they're...
Yeah. At this point, I think she's resorted to taking like caffeine pills and like drinking coffee and stuff like that. And later on, she'll even be reading books about like booby traps and survival and stuff. She's a very smart lady. I love it.
Love the coffee pot under her bed.
Yeah.
And that her mom comes in to yell at her to go to sleep. And it's like, there is no way.
She doesn't smell it.
There's no way you could hide a coffee pot underneath your bed without somebody noticing.
Yeah, for sure.
They're loud.
Your
they're
shit would
stinky.
smell like a Waffle House.
They're hot.
Yeah. But I do like that. She's a quick learner. Like she's like, fuck it, and just goes for it with the burn in her arm thing, and realizes I can pull myself out of the dream that way. All these kind of little things. This fucking thing needs to go. Anyways,
where do they put bars on her window?
Her dad does that, I think, because of he finds out that the boyfriend's coming over at night or something.
Oh, that's right. Johnny Depp comes over through the window and she's like, "Hey,
watch me sleep,"
and he falls asleep.
Yeah, I like. She's like walking down the street in her dream. She's like, "Johnny Depp, are you still watching?" And he like steps out from behind a tree. He's like, "Yeah, I'm still watching."
Yeah.
And she just believes him because it's a dream.
Also, yeah, I think that's the first time you see him in this movie. He comes in through her bedroom window. Mm-hmm. You know what's fun? Wes Craven's Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend that looks like Johnny Depp. The first time you see him, he's coming in her bedroom window.
Wow. But they go all the way down to the police station, and she sees Freddy basically hanging Rod with a bed sheet. I like that little effect. I mean, it's a fun one. I think. I don't think it's perfect. Obviously, you can see exactly how it's done.
Oh yeah.
But it's It's a fun effect. I like it. And then at this point, like I think maybe she was whatever. Her mom takes her to the sleep study thing, basically. She's in the hospital.
Do not remember this.
You don't remember this?
Oh, yes, and she gets the hat. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. She grabs the hat. She sees the name Fred Krueger on the inside. And, like, in bed, she shows the doctor. She's like, I brought this from my dream.
And for sure, that doctor's like, how am I going to tell this kid's parents that she for sure brought this hat in here with her?
But how would she?
She snuck it in under a coat or something like that. I don't know.
She's in scrubs.
I guess.
They put her in a little dress. But anyways,
she didn't come there in a dress. Okay.
Just saying. But then they go home and her mom's drinking because her mom just starts drinking way more throughout this whole movie. I don't know if it's present in the beginning, but the longer the movie goes on, the more you realize she's just like her mom will she'll find a bottle in between fucking towels in the closet and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's a fucking in the tank of a toilet. I think there's even one. But anyways, and And her mom's basically takes her in the basement and is like, here's our little furnace or whatever. Here's the claw glove from, Fred Krueger. He was a child killer. We killed him. We all just got together and we were like, let's just kill this guy.
Yeah, she had
the claw glove.
She has a claw glove, but...
In the basement.
So Nancy had
in the furnace.
Older sibling?
No.
Then why would Mom...
Just because it was a neighborhood thing, they were like, let's get together and get this son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like Evil Dies Tonight type beat.
Okay. I thought it was... Maybe I'm thinking of... I don't know what I'm thinking of. I always thought that, the parents were getting revenge because their kids were dead.
Not any specific kid like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Gotcha.
He was a child killer, so the neighborhood got together and did it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if they've ever dived into like whose kid specifically and like a, more like... Anyways, except for in Freddy vs. Jason, wasn't it like that one kid's older brother had been killed by Freddy and nobody believed them or whatever?
Well, according to Wikipedia, Marge explains that Krueger was an insane child murderer who killed 20 kids, got off on a technicality, and the victim's parents killed him.
Yeah.
So...
Nancy has an older sibling?
Nancy had an older sibling, I guess. That's also not important. Go on.
After barricading the house, Marge explains that Krueger was an insane child murderer who killed 20 children and was released on a technicality and then burned alive by the victim's parents who lived on their street seeking vigilante justice. Nancy realizes that Krueger, now a vengeful ghost, is killing her and her friends out of revenge and to satiate his psychopathic needs. So this is an interesting thing that gets revisited in the third one in a sense, but also like... In the second one, it's present as like a haunted house possession-y thing, but we'll get to it eventually. That's such a weird thing to think about with like Freddy Krueger is like, I don't immediately think supernatural, ghost. I usually think more like kind of like a demon-y thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting like how the series, like in the next one, like how he's like trying to possess and like the haunted house aspect of it, and then like the bones coming back to life and like getting buried. Excuse me. What I'm trying to say is that like there is like a kind of like a more goofy aspect to it that I don't like when I watch these. Seems like surprising compared to like you get what I'm saying, like
yeah,
Freddy Krueger as a character. It's like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna do like Jason and the Argonauts like stop motion skeleton.
yeah.
We'll get to that later, but. Yeah, so anyways, to just think of him as a vengeful ghost is just interesting to me. You know what I mean? I always thought of him as like a demon, like entity thing.
Yeah.
I know those aren't, it's like I'm splitting hairs almost, but like to call like, the ghost of Freddy Krueger, you know what I'm saying? It's like.
I think we can agree, we'll say right here, right now.
Yeah.
When it comes to backstory.
Yeah.
Lore, mythos.
Yeah.
And even just appearance.
Yeah.
Too over-designed. Freddy Krueger is. He's got way too much going on.
He does. Like, I honestly like the glove is the least interesting thing about him. I don't care for the glove.
He's got because
he's already
top down hat, skin, weird sweater, and he's got the glove. And then top down, he's a ghost. He's a demon. He haunts your dreams, and he's a child murderer.
Yeah,
too much, and he loves a boiler room. He's got too much going on.
And his mom was a. Before that, she was locked into the loony bin with 1,000 maniacs, and they all raped her for a whole holiday weekend. So he's the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs, whatever.
Which is such a sick thing to say about somebody.
We'll get to it this time. But anyways, all I'm trying to say is that like I'm not crazy about the glove. The glove is very silly. 'Cause it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, so like when he was alive, he just designed that and he was just killing people with that. Like that's weird.
Oh, we totally forgot the beginning of this movie. The opening credits are like a Batman suit-up montage, but it's him getting shit ready. It's in that little square while the credits are rolling underneath it.
Oh, yeah, because it keeps cutting from, like, Tina having her nightmare to, like, that stuff, yeah.
Have you ever seen that happen in a movie before?
Freddy vs. Jason, because he's, like, licking the back of pictures of kids and stuff.
I just mean the little square.
No, I don't think so. Maybe Batman 80, 69 or whatever the fuck with Adam West. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It confuses me every single time. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Driver's ed bullshit am I watching?
But anyways, all I'm trying to say is like he's already got limitless power. He's master of dreams.
Yes, he's already
basically a master of reality. Yeah, like he's got like Green Lantern powers. You know, like, just anything he can think of, he can make happen. You know, I think the glove hand not necessary.
He almost like never really uses it. He like taps it against the wall and stuff sometimes, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he got. We'll get to part 3. But anyways, I think I think the next is like Glenn's death scene, ish at least.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Like where like she's across the street and she like tries calling him, he doesn't answer. She's like, oh my God, Glenn's asleep. So she keeps trying to call the house and the dad answers it. And he's like, Jesus Christ, that lady won't stop calling the house. I'm going to leave it off the hook or whatever. And then Glenn gets sucked into the little middle bit of the bed. We talked about that. Right?
Very strange.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend lives across the street?
Yeah.
I knew... You ever know of this happening in real life? A high school couple living across the street from each other?
Friend of the show, my dad said that there was a lady who lived a couple houses down when he was in high school that he'd like sneak out at night and go, do the thing. But they weren't like ever dating or whatever.
Gotcha.
But, yeah. I think it's an old school thing. Like I think by the time we started going to school, I think, people just lived farther apart. You know what I mean? But I feel like 30, 40 years ago, it was like, like think about like Sandlot. Like you just knew the kids on your block. When I was growing up, I didn't know anybody lived on the street.
Oh, same. But in high school,
yeah,
I knew a guy who started dating a girl that I knew, and then I don't know if they knew this already or found out when they started dating, but they lived across the street from each other. And like would sneak out and go to each other's houses every night. And they're like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And immediately, as soon as that started happening, I was like, "Oh, that's a nightmare."
Yeah,
like this is cool for a week. But
yeah,
you guys are gonna break up, and this is gonna be a nightmare. And hey,
on Elm Street,
you know who was right as always?
Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger and me.
Johnson.
I was right.
But he gets sucked into the little bed or whatever. And then that's the segues into the third act, right? Like they're across the street, like investigating the death, and she like falls asleep and tries to pull Freddy Krueger into the real world. She does.
Okay, they're investigating, and she's like running around the house, breaking literally every single
and going,
window
Dad, he's in here, help me. And so she's like, honey, murder, investigation. 1 second,
And she's like, murder in here. And he's like, Jesus Christ, this fucking kid.
Yeah.
And then after like, the 11th window, one of the cops goes,
your house is on fire.
I should probably go get her dad,
All right, fine.
Also, shout out John Saxon.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah. And so whatever. Then eventually she thinks she's killed Freddy Krueger. She lit him on fire. I will quote a YouTube channel I like a lot, Dead Meat. They do the kill count and then the kill count for Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's for Freddy versus Jason. But either way, there's the point where Freddy's in the basement on fire. And I mean, obviously, it's a man on fire in a movie, so he's like obviously like wearing a bunch of insulation.
He's so thick, yeah.
But again, a man is literally
yeah.
So kudos, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna shit on it. But yeah, eventually they're like, wow. Oh, it's quiet on the Western Front. And then Nancy's like, wait a second. She sees like burnt footprints all the way upstairs, and they go upstairs. And Freddy's like over her mom or whatever. And she does kill her mom, but then the bed becomes light, and then there's fog everywhere, and Freddy's gone, and the mom's dead also.
Dad's in there to watch it, yeah.
Yeah, and Nancy, yeah.
And the mom comes up as a skeleton.
I think.
And then they're like, oh, fuck, this is fucked up.
Then wrap picture, I think, eventually. So I don't know what happens there.
No, she's like, oh, fuck, this is fucked up. And then they go outside, and then it, like, cuts to her leaving, and her mom's like, all right, honey, have a good day at school. And she's like, all right, bye, Mom, love you. And they get in Johnny Depp's convertible, and the top comes over the convertible, and it's green and red striped.
Yeah. And then she gets pulled in, and she's obviously just a blow-up doll. Like, literally not even like a doll, just like literally an actual sex doll.
And then Fredward laughs as they drive away.
Yeah.
And I said... Oh fuck! I can't remember how the third one ends now, but this one and the second one, I'm like, man, I don't think I've seen two of these slashers in a row that end with, and then he got him.
Yeah.
Like it's it's wild. I do like it quite a bit.
The only other thing I'm going to shout out is that effect. I talk about it a million times, all the time. If you know me in real life, you heard me talk about it a million times. It's the one where Nancy's sleeping, and then Freddy like presses through the paint of the wall above her, and then she wakes up, so he like quick retracts. Super cool. It's just a little bit of practical effect trickery. It's just a sheet of spandex and some clever lighting or whatever, and then immediately after she knocks on it to like really sell the effect because they've replaced it with drywall or whatever. Great. Eventually we'll talk about it in a second, but eventually we'll watch the remake and they CGI it, and it looks really bad.
Love it.
Looks really bad. But anyways, favorite scene, like I said, I think it kind of has to go to the death of Tina. Tina's death, where she's up on the ceiling and Rod's there like, Tina! And she's like, wah, 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 bleeding all over the place, and it's just nasty. And I think it's also like helped by the fact that like I think like the sheets and her like white button up, like everything's just white, and it's just red on white, like it's just nasty, It's just good, nasty, horrible, nasty,
Absolutely.
What about you?
I'm gonna for sure say the body bag.
Yeah, that's a really good pick.
But
it's a fantastic pick.
I am being reminded of something now while looking at it. Is the hall monitor?
Yeah, that does. Take really it down a little bit.
She bumps into the hall monitor, who is just a girl who's like, "Get to class." And
where's your hall pass?
She's got a red and green sweater on, and then she like walks away from her. She goes, "And don't forget." And she turns around, and she got the glove, and she's like, "I'm Freddy Krueger."
But the thing about it is that she's got like 4 streaks of fake blood on her face. Yeah, that looks so silly. Where she's like, "Yeah, where's your hall pass?"
But despite that, it's silly. It's so
the rest of it is grade A material,
cool,
indeed. Least favorite.
Least favorite is probably I don't like the scene where she's talking to the leather jacket boyfriend in the bushes.
No,
for some reason, every time I see it, I'm like, this doesn't. I'm like, this is. It feels like a new movie every time I see it. I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't like leather jacket boyfriend. I just don't like that actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I like all the leather jacket boyfriend stuff. Because like I said, I like it's I talk about it a lot with horror movies, like that thing where it's like, okay, like obviously Ash Williams goes back home and he's convicted of this murder of his 6 friends in the cabin.
Yes.
So like that's why I like the Rod stuff, because it's like, of course she dies in that bedroom and they 100% go, Rod, you are a murdering psychopath, you go to jail now.
But also at the same time it's like, but how do you get the blood up there?
Yeah.
Crazy
but
stuff?
At what point does the cop go, you know what? It's probably just a vengeful ghost. Let him go.
That's a great point.
Yeah. But no, I think my least favorite thing is not necessarily a scene, because again, we introduced this last episode, and it's really hard for me to. Not every movie is going to have like a scene where I'm like, this is dog dick. But probably the only thing that I'm a little iffy on is just kind of 2 things. Like I said in the beginning, the Tina Nightmare credit sequence. It's not the strongest cold open that I think Wes Craven has had, and I don't think it's the strongest cold open that like slashers / horrors have had. Like Scream, much better cold open.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
It almost didn't really need to be in there too much, or maybe just don't have it be the credits. Like I feel like it also being the credits just kind of like rips it of any tension.
Yeah.
Or robs it, not rips it. Robs it of any tension. So it's not necessarily inherently a bad scene. It's just that it's also the credits. And then the other thing is, like I said, there's just a couple of things like him coming down the fucking alleyway, just the wide shot they use where he's so tiny, he's just trying to do the creepy, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, I love
like it. The way that you come after like a niece or a nephew when they're 4. He's like, we're gonna get you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it would work really well in that dream setting. I just feel like there's a better way they could have shot it, because it just looks too silly from that angle.
He's just coming down.
Like I love the idea, because it's like early on Tina running in place when she's dreaming. Great idea. That's horrifying, but they both look silly. Could have been shot in a way that just sells it a little more, I feel like. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it comes immediately after Long Arms.
Yeah. But I will say, if I actually had to pick my least favorite scene, it's probably the epilogue, mom waving by, top of the car being Freddy, and then her getting pulled into the whatever. Nope. Sorry. No. Didn't need to be there. Wasn't very good, in my opinion. It just reminds me of like when we did Nightmare on Elm Street. I keep doing that. Friday the 13th. Like you end with that great, fantastic Jason jumps out of the water scare.
Yeah.
And then it hard cuts to, oh my God, I'm in the hospital. And everybody's like, yep, you're in the hospital. And she's like, but there was the boy. And they're like, there was no boy. It's just like, I don't know where. Like I'm just saying, like I feel like it didn't need Freddy was already scary enough. I guess there's like another way. Just send me home with another way of knowing that Freddy's still out there, maybe. But like, it's just not as strong as like.
Don't kill mom and then immediately show mom again, because when that happens, I'm like, oh, 100% we're in a dream. If it just like gradually happened and then the hood came over the car, I'd be like, oh, awesome, fun.
Have John Saxon waving by.
Exactly.
Or something, But yeah, I mean, again, like in terms of my S tier movie endings from the slasher genre, it's definitely like Texas, and Halloween. A tier. I'm going, Friday the 13th, because I feel like they biffed it. It could have been S tier, but they biffed it. It couldn't have been S tier. It was going to be A tier. But I'd feel better about being A tier if that little thing didn't happen. And then Nightmare, I'm gonna give it like a D-ish, maybe F-ish. Not as a movie, just that end scene. Not feeling it. That. Overall, movie-wise, I'm gonna give it a flat B. First one, I'm giving a flat B.
I'm gonna give it a B minus.
Yeah. I would like to go higher. I think it's really good, but I think I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Okay, cool.
I'll give it a B plus. That's where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put Nightmare on Elm Street in the B plus range. Why do books always have like a couple pages in the front?
Just for that. It's for if the cover falls off, you have a few more bangs and bumps before you start losing pages.
This is not a writing marker.
You know the most twee Tumblr bullshit I've ever seen, and something I love so much?
Huh.
So there's like, what are the later episodes of the Bowtie Doctor Who? He is reading a book and he just takes the last page and rips it out and puts it in his back pocket.
Yeah.
Someone's like, well, you always do that. Why do you? They go, if I never read the ending, the book never ends. I'm like, that's fucking awful. That's dog shit. That's garbage, and I hate it.
Speaking of, I was just talking about Doctor Who earlier because apparently Craig's girlfriend loves Doctor Who.
Girlfriends love two things: sleeping through Evil Dead and Doctor Who.
Any closing thoughts about Nightmare?
It's a good one. Check it out.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Nightmare 2.
This is the gay one.
Do you know anything of? I mean, this is obviously the opportunity for history, but I'm sure. Do you have anything?
I just know it's the gay one. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is one that, like I was saying in the beginning of the Nightmare crawl, I guess you'll call it, before we got into the shit. I caught on like Comcast On Demand with that blue ass menu and shit. You know what I'm talking about.
Boy, do I.
Yeah, this is the only one that I've seen. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. It takes place 5 years after, and I've heard stories. Obviously, I'm relaying secondhand information. Just of like, the kind of like general consensus being that like the screenwriters / people who handled this production top to bottom didn't fully realize what Freddy Krueger was capable of, in a sense, right? Like as a sleep demon who could do anything, like what that meant for a movie and how interesting that could be. Mm-hmm. So instead, to some people's lament, it becomes like a haunted house / possession story where Freddy Krueger's barely there, and he only like really kills like one person in a dream.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's just around to be kind of spooky, and I actually kind of like it, especially as like a soft or hard, however you want to look at it, metaphor for like the trying to repress homosexuality in a sense, right? Like the character trying to walk around and like, just like, go ahead.
From my limited understanding of like hearing bits and pieces about the making of it, and the the quote unquote subtext of the being in the closet, is that the screenwriter wrote it with that in mind for sure, but it was very it was very homophobic. He was very much so like, if you're gay, you should keep it locked up inside you until it goes away. And then the director was just like, read it, was like, oh, this is a movie about accepting that you're gay for sure. And then it just so happened that their lead actor was also gay, and he's like, oh yeah, cool, this is what this is about. And so watching it, it is so mixed up, and it's so like, I could see this being fucking either one.
Which is great though, because again, like insane, even like that's a lot of people's experience with being gay is being mixed up and being kind of like against it, or maybe whatever. Anyways, start off like I said, it's 5 years later. New family has moved in. Later on, we find out that the dad knew what happened in the house, but because he says to his wife, he's like, "How do you think we got such a good deal?" Which is classic haunted house stuff.
I take it back. I love this movie. This movie's great.
Yeah. And he's just like rip roaring having nightmares.
The movie, it starts immediately, and he's having that nightmare on the bus,
and he just wakes up sweaty after. But anyways,
never wakes up dry in this movie. But this nightmare at the beginning, just this first scene where like the bus drives into hell or whatever, where they use all of their budget immediately.
Yeah. I
don't know why, but he looks so strange. Like his hair's like matted down to his head, and he's got like dark bags around his eyes. And like I was like, oh, man, I don't remember from what I've seen in this movie him looking like this. And then he looks just like a normal kid for the rest of it, and it's just so out of left field. He looks.
Freddy also looks weird.
He looks like a school shooter, and then Freddy looks gross in this movie.
He looks very gross. He's always also wet.
Yes, always also wet. Yeah.
I kind of like the Freddy look, but whatever. We'll get to that. Also, the house is just super hot. Just keeps getting hotter. Like, there's a point where the dad, without batting an eye, goes, "That's 97 degrees in the house." Yeah, if it was 97 degrees in this fucking, you know that it's never been like,
dude. Yeah, no,
over 80 in here.
No, what happens is, mom comes into the living room. Dad is sitting on the recliner reading a newspaper. Front of the shirt soaked through. Yeah. Front of his polo soaked through. Yeah. Mom goes, "It's hot in here," and Dad goes, "Oh, you're right, it is." And then goes up and goes, "Yeah, it's 97
Yeah,
here."
Again, crazy. But whatever. We're jumping ahead.
Classic Dad.
This is going to be a tough one to go scene to scene because I have not seen it as many
Then let's not. Times. I have some notes that can keep us I can keep us on track until the gym teacher.
I will say I love this movie. But so there's like a love triangle going on where like we get at gym, the two boys fight. I don't know his buddy's name.
Grady.
Like
the guy from The Shining.
Yeah, him and Grady fight while playing baseball. And
Grady pulls his ass out.
Yeah, pulls his ass out in front of everybody.
Favorite part of this movie is all slasher movies with the gratuitous nudity and stuff like that. It is exclusively male butts in this movie. Yeah. And I love it. It's so fun.
And then the gym teacher's like, "Guys,
fucking push-ups.
Just the hold part, though. Don't actually push down or up. Just hold it."
Oh, yeah, plank.
Yeah, basically.
So him and Jock Bully.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Maybe it's my favorite relationship in any of these slasher films.
Yeah, they go full "I love you, man" with it
because they become best friends.
Yeah, immediately.
Kind of. Because Grady the bully immediately is like, "You know what? We're not so different, you and me." Yeah. But at the same time, what's our main character's name? I can't remember.
Don't know. He's called Steve Lacy.
Steve Lacy's like, "Fuck you, man." He's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, do you live around here?"
Yeah, I love it. I really do love it as well. And then the other thing is that there's a girl who's sweet on Steve Lacy, and Steve Lacy's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm pretty sure I'd like men, but sure, yeah, we can go steady or whatever." So she's just around, and she wants to help so bad, and Steve Lacy's like, "You don't understand." But then he'll go to Grady's house and be like, "You got to help me, bro. I'm having these crazy nightmares." You know what I mean? And it's like, you have this person right here who wants to help so bad. Whatever.
Why are we calling him Steve Lacy?
Because I don't remember his name.
Who's Steve Lacy?
He had a big hit. He's a big pop star right now. He had a song called...
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Hey, guess what? He does not look like the main character in this movie.
No, it's just the name that came to mind.
Several reasons. All right, anyway. So Steve Lacy and Meryl Streep are fighting like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And whatever. So... Yeah, Freddy keeps showing up, and I love Freddy's little thing because like it's just like the nightmares aren't that crazy in this one. It's just like he'll like walk down his steps into the basement. Oh, he's like outside, and he looks into the basement window, and he sees Freddy down there doing shit, and he's just like, "Oof."
I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, so he goes back.
The first time he does it, he like walks outside. He walks in his backyard and like is in this like little like garden like hallway like alleyway to the basement, and he stands there and he looks for 90 seconds and then starts walking. There's so much padding in the beginning of this movie, and it's great.
But it's so true to like a dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does actually feel very dream-like.
That's for as little like stuff that they do with the dreams in this one, I think the dreams are the best in this one.
Yeah, because it's like, like I could definitely like see myself waking up and be like, I had a dream last night that like I got up in bed and something didn't feel right, so I kind of wandered through the house and I thought I heard something outside, so I went outside. And then I was just like stuck in the driveway for like a minute and a half because like I was like so sure that if I went any farther, I'd see something. But I felt like maybe there wasn't anything. And then I like started to turn around and I looked into the basement window and I saw a guy down there that was like horribly burned, like messing with our furnace or whatever. And then I walked back inside and like for some reason my dad was also there upstairs sleeping though. So like I started calling for him to try to tell him what was going on in the basement. But then he wouldn't wake up, so I just went into the basement. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely. Like I'm going to jump ahead to it, but I think the best part of this movie is the dream he has with the gym teacher. Yeah. Because he wakes up wet as hell. Yeah. Puts on this shirt that he wears every time he has a dream for some reason. Opened with jeans, no socks, no shoes. And then he like walks downstairs and then he's immediately outside in the rain. And earlier in the movie, somebody told him a rumor about how like, the gym teacher goes to a dominatrix bar. You know that? Which I don't think that's what they're called, is a dominatrix bar.
Yeah.
But the dominatrix bar in his dream is called Dom's Place. And then he goes in there and goes, "Give me a beer." And the bartender goes, "Sure," and pours beer into a whiskey glass for some reason.
Yeah.
And then he runs into the teacher, and the teacher's like, "Hey, boy, blah, blah, blah." And then it immediately cuts to him running laps in the gym.
Yeah.
And it's just back to back. Like you're saying, then I walked into the bar, and then I saw our gym teacher, and then I was running laps. He was making me run laps in the gym immediately. Yeah. And there was just like a red glow coming from the locker rooms, but I kind of just ignored that. And then I got done with that first lap, and I went to the showers, and then I just heard screaming coming from somewhere. Yeah, exactly. It's just like every dream of this is so a dream. I love it.
And the gym teacher's the only one that got killed. We did jump ahead. We'll go back in a second. But for right now, I do like I think this is the point where like Freddy makes his intentions of possession clear because he talks to him, and I love this. This is my pick for favorite scene. I love like when he's basically like he says to him, he's like, "You've got the body," and then he rips his scalp off and his pulsating brain. He's like, "And I've got the brains." So sick.
I love. He says something. He does another like special effect right before that, and I can't remember what it is, but I loved it. I love. It's his eyes. Because, like, right before he says that, he's just, I think when he's like, "You've got the body," his, like, whole face, for some reason, is in shadow. Yeah. And just his gross yellow and red eyes are just, like, very prominently lit. Oh, it's great. I love it.
It's good. Yeah. But anyways, I don't know what else we have or haven't covered.
The bully looks like Matt Dillon from The Outsiders.
We did talk about that for a while, yeah.
Also figured out that I always thought that picture of Lou Reed
was Matt Dillon from The Outsiders.
Matt Dillon from The Outsiders, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, look that up. Let me know what you think. Send us an email.
I don't remember that movie. I mean, I remember reading the book, but that movie didn't leave that much. I mean, it's like eating soup alone at gmail.com, I think.
Okay, if you think I'm right about the Matt Dillon Lou Reed thing, email us at eatingsoupalone@gmail.com.
Also, yeah, I mean, I pay like for Squarespace website. We've talked about it before. You know, it's got the grade book on there. Everything that we've ever watched has been graded, except I don't think I have X and Pearl's grades in there. Sorry, I'm slacking, but I didn't write them down anywhere, I don't think. So I got to either find them or go listen to the episode again and find those timestamps, put that in the grade book. But the other reason why I bring it up is because at the end of every episode's page, if you go in there and you go to like podcast episodes or whatever, and then you click on the episode, there's always a form at the bottom where you can submit a little comment to us.
Yeah,
or you can just email us. I mean,
start using our website. If
I don't check the email. I mean, I might if I suddenly notice that someone had emailed me. You know.
Yeah, for sure. If you like the show, let us know. If you really don't like the show, please let us know. Whatever thoughts you have, just if you, I know this should
comment on those YouTube videos, man.
Absolutely, this should go at the beginning or the ending of the episode, but we're gonna put it smack dab in the middle right here. Just if you got questions, comments, concerns, think we can make the show better, think the show can't get better, and we're bad at this, and you want to let us know, we're paying so much money for this website. Just let us know.
And you know what? Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, clip this bitch, make it a TikTok. Or whatever.
Okay, if I remember, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're going to remember because you're going to be editing this, and I'm going to say this to you. And then you're like, fuck, all right, I guess I will, Chris.
Well, yeah, and I'll close it. I'll save it, I'll close it, and then I'll make a TikTok, and then I'll come back and I'll...
Yeah, exactly. You can't continue editing until you've made the TikTok. Yeah. So anyways... What else do you have notes-wise? Because all I really remember is the bird explodes because it's so hot.
Oh my god, the bird explodes.
And the dad's like, he had to put an M80 in there or whatever.
Yeah, immediately he's like, oh, there's got to be a gas leak. And him and the mom are like...
The mom is like, you're out of your mind, you're high as fuck.
There's probably not a gas leak. And he goes, you know what it is? It's probably that cheap bird seed that you're buying. That made the bird blow up. And
she's like, you're on crack cocaine.
And son's like, Dad, yeah, come on. He's like, no, you probably put an M80 inside this bird.
And she's like, yeah, you probably have a tumor in your brain.
Also, Dad is like... the dweebiest fucking guy I've ever seen, but he's also like the most hard-ass dad in the world.
It's so weird.
I hate this guy.
Yeah. Because like he's on that ladder, and what does he say to his son or whatever? Oh, yeah, he says...
His wife's like, he needs psychiatric help.
Yeah, he's like, he needs to get off drugs is what he needs to do.
No, his dad is like, no, he needs to get the shit kicked out of him. I'm going to kick his ass when he comes home is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because, the cops bring him home. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, from the yes, because they're like, he was just wandering around naked, because the cops don't immediately think of him as a suspect for the killing of the gym teacher.
Yeah, because why would they?
But that's the interesting thing is that, like, again, throughout the whole movie, it is him. He is doing the killings, but possessed by Freddy Krueger. Because even in that scene, it, like, flashes for a second. He's got the glove on his hand, you know, and he, like, takes it off forever. Whatever. And so like that's the thing is that it becomes like it's almost like a Halloween Ends thing where like by the end of it he's telling like his girlfriend he's like I love you and stuff but I'm literally running around committing murders and I'm going insane.
Yeah.
You know, and then she's able to convince her that it's Freddy, you know, doing the possessing and stuff. The other thing is the night where he actually shows up at Grady's house and does the thing I said earlier where he's like I'm having these nightmares, man. My girlfriend wants to help me, but fuck her. I need your help. Grady's got like a fucking like what is it like a vinyl or like
it's like
leather
a leather comforter. Yeah,
it's crazy.
I remember the last movie when I said I can't imagine being more uncomfortable than shirtless with a leather jacket.
Yeah.
I take it back. It's a leather comforter.
Yeah, that's some straight up like 80s horny stuff. You got to be a fucking actual pervert criminal to want to do that.
He's got like a cocaine dealer's bedroom from the 80s.
He does for sure.
I'm probably making this up, but I feel like there's like zebra print wallpaper on like half of the wall, and he's got like a rat with 2 T's poster or some shit like that. And he's got like that round bed.
Yeah.
That's probably a water bed.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Whatever. He stays and he's basically like crazy shit's been happening. You have to watch me sleep. So he sleeps.
Meanwhile, there's a pool party happening at Meryl Streep's house.
Oh, yeah, he's left the pool party. Right. And, yeah, then basically what happens is there's a point where Grady is like, sweet dreams, and he goes to bed.
Which, yeah, it sucks because Grady's going to die here in a second. Spoilers. I want to...
Rest in peace, Grady.
I wrote down some of my favorite Grady quotes.
Sure.
Spoilers. My favorite scene in this movie, anytime Grady's on screen.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he wants to be friends with him immediately.
Yeah.
And Steve Lacy is like, fuck it, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, do you live around here? And he's like, yeah, I live in fucking whatever Elm Street.
Yeah.
He goes, oh yeah, somebody fucking died there.
Yeah,
and he thinks he's just fucking with him. So he's like, fuck off. And Grady's like, all right, man, sorry.
Because we forgot they found Nancy's diary.
Oh,
in the closet.
Because there's that great scene where he's dancing, cleaning his room.
Yeah.
Because his dad wants those boxes unpacked tonight.
Yeah, son. I love that. There's like a scene where his dad's like, those better be unpacked tonight. And then like hard cuts to like him sleeping with like just the boxes all around him. Like, damn. Yeah. This kid needs his ass kicked.
And his dad's like, no, first, Meryl Streep gets out of the pool and goes, I'm going to call Steve Lacy and tell him to come over. You don't see that. Just immediately cuts to Steve Lacy going, I'm going out, Dad. He goes, those boxes unpacked? He goes, no. And he goes, well, then you're not going anywhere. He's like, Dad, come on. He goes, I don't care. And he stomps upstairs, and then he like opens a drawer and like dumps a bunch of socks. He's like, there you go, there. Dad. He goes, take that, Dad. I'm like, Dad doesn't know you did that. Yeah. And it's just fucking you over.
Yeah.
And then Meryl Streep shows up and goes, I thought you could use some help.
Yeah. Like, mid him like jamming out to some 80s shit, air humping with a fucking racket while his mom and his girlfriend walk in.
Which I love because, he's just like putting on a bunch of hats and sunglasses because I don't know about anyone else. When I'm cleaning my room, that's what I'm doing. Every accessory I find, I'm putting on.
Yeah.
And then, they find that diary, which is insane. Don't remember her writing a diary at all in the first movie. Don't think she did. My favorite Grady quotes is what we were getting at.
Sure,
Or what I was getting at. Is they're doing the planks, and he's like, so what's up with you and that... Meryl Streep. And he goes, what do you mean? And I wrote down, I think word for word, he goes, are you mounting her nightly or what? Like he yells what for some reason. And then later in the movie, they're running laps and Steve Lacy goes, you ever remember your dreams, Grady? He goes, just the wet ones.
Yeah.
And then I think it hard cuts to him waking up wet.
Yeah. Yeah, he does have Steve Lacy does have wet dreams, but
they're just like whole body physically, is wet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I remember having the first, you remember when you're in elementary school and you have like the first sex ed class?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I can call that. Yeah.
I remember learning all the information you learn in that first class and just like, reeling because, life has changed forever.
Yeah.
And having so many questions and not wanting to ask any of them. And then like, our gym teacher who was telling us all this, I was like, all right, if any of you have questions. And I remember this one kid raised his hand. He goes, so a wet dream, is it pee? And he goes, no, it's not. And he explains to him what a wet dream means. And he goes, okay. And then I swear to God, I think for the next 30 minutes was just that kid having questions about wet dreams and not being able to understand that it's not pissing the bed.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. That's a great story.
And by the end, I think when it was over, I was like, I think I went full circle and I'm back at the beginning. I don't know if wet dream is pissing the bed or not. So there's the pool party.
Yes, pool party. And at this point, Freddy does that thing where doesn't he cocoon out of...
Oh, my, it's so sick. Yeah,
out of Steve Lacy, kills Grady, And then he's just on a tear. He shows up at the party and he's just like...
Which is... This might be my favorite scene out of any of these slasher films.
I do love him at the party.
Is when hot dogs just start exploding.
Yeah.
Which is so scary, Chris.
Yeah.
And then Freddy Krueger pops out and goes, blah! And everyone goes, what is happening? And the parents look out, and there's just a part where like they look out and Freddy's just like in front of 30 kids. He's just going, and he's doing that little crab dance, but in front of all of them, and he like throws a chair, and it's so like picturing any of the slashers just like trying to wrangle 30 kids at once. It's like there's nothing that you can physically have this guy do, so he's just kind of going, and everybody. It's so
that is the weird limitation of Freddy Krueger sometimes. I think that you put it very well, which is like, when he's doing the Zoidberg dance down the fucking alleyway, it's like, he does have physical limitations though, as like just a guy, right? So like outside of the strict dream world, but luckily the burnt up skin, I mean, he does have the intimidation factor where like I buy the party scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky. I do like it. He's running around. They eventually best him by... Oh, that's right.
No, he just fucking leaves.
Well, no, it's like they're like chasing each other, like, or something like that. It's like the girl, they end up in like the boiler room, or do they track him down to the boiler room? Is she like, I think he probably went to his boiler room. Is that what it was?
Yes, no, but first I'd like to mention that he's at the pool party, and that guy goes, "Hey, man, just relax. We just want to help you." And Freddy goes, "Help yourself, fucker," and then cuts him across the chest.
Yeah.
And then there's like two really gruesome
Freddy's
things back to back. Like everyone's like, okay, fuck, now this is serious. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And you see everybody trample one guy trying to get out of there. Yeah. And then immediately right after you see that, Freddy cuts a guy's throat open and he goes, "Oh, God. And it's just like this, the hardest thing to watch. Yeah. Just back to back, and it really got me.
Yeah.
And then Dad comes out with a shotgun and shoots at him twice, and Freddy goes, "Fuck this, I'm out of here," and just walks through a wall.
Yeah. Well, anyways, they follow him down to the boiler room because I think Steve Lacy's girlfriend's like, "I've been reading the diary. He used to live in a boiler room."
Oh yeah, they went there earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's waiting for her outside the big industrial complex, Chris?
Oh, two dogs with I want to say like Asian faces, baby Asian faces.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Spooky.
Oh,
I don't like it. It's a little awful.
This whole movie feels like the guy who wrote it watched the first one the same way I watched the first one 3 times.
Yeah.
But then also did that with another movie right after. So when you wrote the script, whatever that other movie was had dog babies in it. He's like, and then we should probably bring the baby dogs back.
Yeah. And then I do like that the way that this ends is. And you can do your own reading into this with the gay context thing. The woman's kiss cures him of his Freddyism.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's no longer Freddy Krueger. He's just straight Steve Lacy who loves his girlfriend.
I do like that effect, though, when Freddy burns up or whatever.
Yeah, but also like, again, like, let's just take it back. I guess, like, she knows that he's in there, I guess, because he's been possessed by Freddy Krueger, I guess, because I didn't get that until just now. But I was like, why in a million years would you go, I'm going to plant one on him? But I guess she knows that he's in there.
Yeah, because Freddy, she saw that happen, didn't she?
Did she? It was at Grady's, wasn't it?
He comes out of Grady, and then he looks in the mirror, and it's just he's himself covered in blood, but he's Freddy in the mirror, and he goes, "Oh, I got to get out of here." And then he goes to Meryl Streep and covered in blood. He goes, "I killed a guy, look at me." And she goes, "Are you gay though?" And he goes, "No, look at me."
Yeah.
And then he turns into Freddy Krueger and she throws a blanket at him and he goes, "Ah."
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, now how does this one? Oh, it ends the same way it begins, where they're on the fucking bus. And he's like, "This is going a little fast," and then they'll drive off into the desert, and he goes, "Ah ha ha," and then you hear the doo 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 doo, kind of like a little fucking jingle or whatever.
And this one has the weirdest like ramifications because like they do a double trick. Where he's like, the bus is going too fast, and then because earlier the bus driver is
Robert Englund,
and then he's like, "Slow down," and the bus driver turns around and it's not him. And it's like, oh cool, we're not in a dream.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know how we go forward from this, especially to the next one, because 30 to 40 people at a pool party saw Freddy Krueger, and then he killed 2 of their friends.
Yeah.
And then the next one, everyone's just like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like that would make, even though it's the 80s and they don't have the internet, That's getting around. That's getting around. Yeah,
it's viral.
You know, I really like when she kisses him. It does suck that it's true love straight kiss turns him straight. But I like
true love straight kiss.
But Freddy goes and he burns up into like a big charcoal version of himself, and
then inside of it, it's kind of a gross effect too. Yeah,
and I also love that absolutely one of the special effects guys figured out like, hey, if you put a line of gasoline or whatever this liquid is, and you light it at one end, it lights up in a line.
Yeah.
So they do that 1 million times in this movie. There is a line of fire that goes across, and at the end, at the industrial place, it is just like fences and grates all have this on it, and so just in a line, all these different things start lighting, and it's fun at first, and then by the end of it, I'm like, this is the best. I just like, and they do it with the hot dogs earlier, and oh god, it's just so good.
Something I have to shout out is I just love the first movie had it for sure, but this one especially just has this like teal 80s, like almost Twin Peaksy like color palette look to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Where, like just the colors are just popping, you know. I love this one. The second one pops with color, very beautiful color.
Yeah, that's what I was a little nervous at the beginning because the bus scene at the beginning doesn't until they go into the desert. But when it's just him, like I said, but just him on the bus and he's just scary. I'm like, this movie's gonna be gross.
Yeah, and I don't think we get a lot of boiler room here until the third act when they're actually at the boiler room. But like I said, me personally, not the biggest boiler room fan, so to stay away from that, it's good. It's a dub. Obviously, again, my personal bias. Like I said, I think I like this one a little bit more than the original, but I do recognize the first one is better, so I will give this one the B, as opposed to the first one got the B+. Although, like I said, I think I do like this one more. This might be my favorite Nightmare. I think I can pretty confidently say this is my favorite Nightmare, actually.
Before I give you my grade, Chris, what's your favorite scene in this movie?
Great, actually. I forgot to mention that. My favorite scene in this movie, like I said, I think I probably, if I'm being like dead honest, it's probably like the, it's a tough one because I really like, god damn, I like the gym teacher scene from the bar all the way to him getting killed in the showers. I like the party scene. And I also really like and I've got the brains.
Yeah. But also, help yourself, fucker.
It's pretty fucking good. And also, like I said, I really do like him and Grady. Like, I just love that Grady is just like, I'm going to be your friend whether you like it or not. You know, it's just so cool. But yeah, I probably have to go with that.
Like, there's that part where they're at lunch, and he goes, Grady, will you shut your fucking mouth? And Grady goes, fine.
So just love it. I love this movie. Like I said, tight 130 color palette going crazy. I like the Freddy Krueger haunted house possession thing. Dreams are on point. Kills are kept to a minimum. I think that's something that I like actually in a slasher movie, is like, especially when it's a sequel, like you've already established that this guy murders and he can murder good. So like to reel back the kill count can actually be a benefit, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I'd probably say favorite scene, I guess the pool party at the end, but I really do have to give an honorable mention to I've got the brains or whatever. So what about you?
For sure, it's the gym teacher dream.
Yeah,
just like that foggy gym.
Yeah,
with the red
even the
light
foggy bar. I guess it's smoky, but yeah.
But like a gym shouldn't be foggy.
Yeah,
and I love
it does look
so
like
much.
a steam room.
And it immediately goes into him in the shower, and then the gym teacher in his leather gear is just walking around the equipment room before all the balls start attacking him. And I was thinking about her watching it. Haunted stuff in 80s movies just loves to shake.
Yeah.
Like just watching all the bars and everything just shake. I'm like, that's Evil Dead. That's
never seen Poltergeist.
But I'd like to see it. Yeah,
I'd like to see it.
Shit shaking, and then because it starts with all that great stuff that I love, gets silly with all this stuff shaking, and then it ends with the teacher naked getting his ass whipped with a towel, and how can you not love that?
Least favorite?
Least favorite. Probably when she shows Steve Lacy the boiler room industrial place.
Yeah.
Before the end of the movie. Yeah, just around there is when the movie started to lose me, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it got me back with Help Yourself, Fucker, and then it lost me a little bit, and it got me back with the baby dogs.
Yeah, I'd probably say me personally, it's gonna be both school bus scenes.
Yeah.
I kind of like the it's on the edge of a cliff thing. I mean, that happens in dreams, but the whole thing kind of feels just a little out of place for the rest of it, because no other dream happens in like a weird location like that. Everything is pretty grounded. I know it happens in a school bus, so it's not that weird, but just like, I don't know, it just seems like Wile E. Coyote-ish. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they just stick out to me, and they don't work much for me.
Yeah, absolutely. When the bus is on that hell cliff or whatever.
Yeah.
That is straight up Wile E. Coyote about to fall off of a...
Yeah. Steve Lacy should have just held up a sign that said help.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like I said, I love this one, and I think this one's my favorite Friday.
So far, me too. I'm going to give it a B+.
Yeah.
So far,
great.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Real good stuff. I really like this one. And next week, which is October 9th, 7 days from the 2nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
So October 9th, look forward to Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. And then I think the next one is The Dream Masters. So I think those are coming up.
Where's your Dream Child?
I think Dream Child is the 5th or 6th. I think it's the 3rd in that trilogy of 3, 4, 5. So it'd be the 5th one. I think the 5th one's Dream Child, and I think the 6th one's Freddy's Revenge.
4's Dream Master, yeah.
Yeah, 5 is Freddy's, or I mean a Dream Child, right? And then 6 is Freddy's Revenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. I think they end up saying it in one of them, like as like a shitty like plot point. But I do like just in these beginning ones. Everybody, every town in every state, every part of America, everyone's got an Elm Street or an Elmwood, or something like that. Just like, yeah, it's great. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Should I do a Freddy impersonation for the That's That Matches Man?
Sure.
Okay. Hang on, I gotta do like one of the famous lines first. Now you're playing with power. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Okay, here we go. That's that, bitch.
That's good. I like that. You're like, hold on, I gotta prep. And then you prepped, you went, okay, let me say a few things as normal Chris first.
Undid all the work, yeah. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,